And here is the demonic methodology. Listen closely. This is what a lot of the patristic literature is about. It's about exposing the demonic methodology. It's about making us warriors. We don't fall into the traps of the demons. So here is the demonic methodology that's been used again and again and is now being used by the enemies of the church. He then told Balak, I cannot tell you anything other than what God places in my mouth, but I will whisper. I will whisper something in your ear as if you could avoid God. Pay attention, because if you follow my advice, you will defeat the Israelites. Here is the plan. Try to seduce the Israelites in two ways. First, try to get them to worship a different God, idolatry. Preferably your God, and this will make their God very angry. Secondly, get them to fall into sexual immorality, fornication, which their God does not want. All right, so idolatry, fornication. Get those things to happen, and you will get their God angry at them, and then you'll be able to defeat them. To put this in simple terms, Balaam told Balak to make sure that the Israelites fall into idolatry and fornication. These are the two truly demonic pieces of advice coming from a servant of the devil who knew that they would kindle God's wrath. After that, he would no longer protect them, and evil would overtake them. Sound familiar? Yeah. It's called secularization. It's called clergy refusing to guide people in the bedroom. It's about bishops teaching us that homosexuality and sodomy is no problem. You can be that and be an Orthodox Christian. It's all going on in front of our faces. The two demonic, how about many pass up the mountain? Many pass up the mountain. What is that? That's idolatry. That is perennialism of our day. It's idolatry. Bringing the Christians to acknowledge that the idol worshipers are one with them in salvation. It's all going on. It's the same old story from ages past. Let's analyze the demonic methodology that he taught the Moabites in order to put them to a stumbling block before the children of Israel. A political solution, that is infiltration, right? What does that remind us of? Go back to Adam and Eve. How did the demon work? How did the devil work in order to suck them away from God's will and God's communion? Coexistence. Bring them over for a party. Let's party together. Coexistence. Excuse me. Then open up a dialogue. Step 2. Let's have a dialogue. Let's talk. Let's commune together as brothers and sisters. Let's talk about what we have in common and not what separates us. Sound familiar? And then infiltration, right? And then intrusion, coming into the noetic realm. That's what happened then. But here we have this kind of communion between that which was incongruent, right? Between God's people and the idol worshipers. And that's what the Lord was continually saying, you must remain separate. Come out from among them and remain separate from the idol worshipers. He knew what the demon was trying to do. He knew the demonic methodology. And so they organized a festival. They invited the Israelites. The people began to commit immoral acts with the daughters of Moab, who were dressed to seduce and provoke. These females invited the young Israelites to join them in offering sacrifices, fornication, and idolatry. Sound familiar? Israelites ate the food sacrificed to the idols and celebrated the service to honor Baal, which aroused the anger of the Lord. He ordered Moses to arrange for the execution of all those who had joined in harlotry and offered sacrifice to the idols. Moses did so, and the killing did not stop until 24,000 people found a tragic death. 24,000 people. Before you run and say, what kind of God is this in the Old Testament? Understand what's going on here. People are turning away and embracing death themselves. They're already walking dead. They have no repentance. They turned away from God and followed after the demons. So in order to stop that from happening and losing the entire people of God, and therefore the salvation which was to come through the Messiah and through the Mother of God, the Lord has to bring an end to this bloodletting, let's say, right? The loss of the people of God from the communion with God. Balaam's advice to Balak worked. Get them to sin, and you will see that God would become angry with them. So this is the story from the Old Testament. This is what was going on in Pergamon. And the question is, were the Nicolaitans a real group or just a name that reminded us of Balaam? And do they exist today? So there is some case to say it was a metaphorical term, but we actually have church fathers who say, no, they're a real group, they're real heretics, and they were named Nicolaitans, and exactly what was described here. So yes, those who imitate the actions and the methods of the Nicolaitans, they do exist. Of course they exist. And we need to be aware of the methods of the enemies of the people of God. Balaamitism is the typology of the deceivers and destroyers of the new Israel of grace, the church. And we see this method of destruction throughout church history. All right. So that is a very, very instructive lesson for all of us. Now,